What up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of A Drink in the Game. You know, this is episode, I don't even know right now. I'll put it down in the description. But I am continuing what I started 10 years of E3 Retrospect. Last episode, we did E3 2010. Today, we're going to go over E3 2011. And I'm gonna go through all big companies because it seemed like the last two shows they were short, so I feel like I could get through all three without this going on for too long. But first and foremost, I'm your host Dre, aka BK Brawler on Xbox Live, PlayStation Network. You can send me an invite if you want to add me as a friend. If you do, though, you better make it known that you listen to the pod or you know me on Facebook or something because I will just straight up ignore you. Um, Drinks I'm drinking today. I got me a margarita, nothing too hard, nothing too hard. And in case I finish the margarita while we're talking, I got me this beer. This one's called Naughty Maryland. It's a Belgian style ale, from brewed in what is it, Colorado, Boulder, Colorado. Nice and cold. I might just crack this open. It's one of my beers that I got from like my um beer stop or beer shop, whatever the hell, beer drop. There we go. Not sponsored by them, but I'll shout them out for always giving me some new shit to try. And look out, because I'm coming out with a series soon where which I just try out beer, but it won't be part of gamers. That's going to be a personal little thing happening. But let's go on to this. So I decided this time to start with Sony, and then maybe next week I'll start with Microsoft. And then at the end of this, I'll give who I thought was the best and worst show for this. Give or take everything that was shown, all the games that came out that ended up being either great or garbage. A lot of games that were shown probably didn't even come out to. But let's get this show on the road. So Sony E3 2011 press conference. Of course, it opens up with a sizzle reel with a bunch of games and stuff on the PlayStation Vita, because we know, right? The Vita is the future, right? That's gonna last a long time. This is the replacement for the PSP. This time we weren't wasted our money. Wrong, wrong, right? We wasted our money. Well, it wasn't a complete waste because we got a lot of good games on the Vita, but Sony's unwillingness to support this thing the way it could have been and should have been supported is the reason why it failed at a young age. Okay, I can't even tell how many years the damn thing was out, but I know it couldn't have been more than probably 2 or 3 before we stopped seeing any real stuff for it, just releases in Japan or whatever. When they were putting out games like Persona, they didn't even want to give us that shit right away. Mm, But remember last time, E3 2010, we talked about Sony was pushing 3D. And then so here we go. On this show is a very 3D eccentric show. At this point in time, 3D's new and big. Everybody loves it. Little did they know it'll just be a fad. And sooner or later, we won't give two fucks about 3D. And till this day, unless we're watching Terminator at Universal Studios, 3D don't really mean much to us. so, um, so after like the show is the sizzle reel, as Sony used to tell us to call it, PlayStation, when I worked there. The sizzle reel of games is shown for probably like 4 to 5 minutes, very long, a big opening. Felt there was a filler to waste some damn time and shit. But Jack Trenton comes out. Um, what do you say? And we get what was it? Oh God, what was but some girl oh no, they're showing off video game stuff, and then they give a shout out to G4. So like I was excited to hit. I was like, oh shit, 2011 G4 is still alive, and this show, I'm actually watching this show on G4 because that was the only place I would go to watch any E3 news, any big news updates. Any game reviews had to come from X Play or some of the other games that it came from. If it wasn't G4, I wasn't paying attention to it. Um, at that point in time also, PlayStation Network was having an outage. He blamed it on a bunch of people wanting to see what's up on the store, or I guess watch the show or some shit like that. But he apologizes to everyone that was on their PlayStation Network and wasn't able to play at the moment. Um, let's see. So it does announce that every game that they show off that night will be playable after the show for those that are in attendance. Once again, this is a time where people were rewarded more for going to see these things live. You know, going to see these things were a big damn deal. You know, and then so he starts showing off all these services for PlayStation, including a certain small service that was called Music Unlimited. Now, I don't know how many of you are old enough to remember Music Unlimited, or some of you probably didn't even know what the fuck that was. That was like Sony's version of iTunes and Spotify. And working for Sony, I used it, but never had a paid subscription to the shit. But it was something good, but didn't last long because of course it didn't have the fan base because Sony wasn't good at advertising shit in the US. So you guys didn't really know unless you bought a damn Bravia. And we all know a lot of people stopped buying Bravias when the prices were way higher than all other TVs. But then they start off big. Naughty Dog enters stage first. And excuse me, those who are watching on video, me looking off to the right or left here and this. I got my notes because there's a lot I had to write down and stuff. So you see me looking off a little bit is because I'm reading my damn notes that I put down. But they come to the stage and they show off Uncharted 3. They also, and of course, yes, it's in 3D. And then they also announced the multiplayer beta that was coming, which us who worked at the PlayStation Lounge, we got that beta first. And boy, did it draw crowds. It was a good multiplayer game. We had like a bunch of little TVs, which I'll get into later, set up for everyone to play in 3D and shit like that, you know. But so that was a nice little announcement. Then after that, they showed off Naughty Dog, not Naughty Dog, Insomniac Games. You guys know big ass Insomniac Games showed off Resistance 3. And boy, do I miss this series. You know, Resistance 3 wasn't the best of them. Resistance 1 was the best of the trilogy. And Resistance 2 was good too. Resistance 3 was just there, but they were all about this whole 3D and using the move gun. And of course, they showed off the move bundle coming with Resistance 3 and the gun and all that stuff. It played okay when the game came out, but none of us really cared to use the move gun with Resistance. Thank God I got to just play that shit for free. Um, so they show off the game in 3D. And then one thing, when the camera kind of pans off of this guy that's playing the game, there's another screen next to him. Is I think it's like where they want to show off move games. But when you look at the screen, you'll think that maybe you'll have Resistance playing on this other screen. But lo and behold, like I peeped, like NBA 2K was on the screen. You know, I don't know how many. I just want to throw that out there. I don't know how many other people peeped that while watching this presentation, but NBA 2K was on the damn screen. I guess the camera guy had a bad shot there. Like I said, then after the presentation, the Resistance 3 Sharpshooter bundle is announced. Um, then they announced the God of War collection, which include Chains of Olympus and Ghosts of Sparta. For that was from the PSP, so a little remastered thing coming to the PS3. And also the Shadow Colossus and Ico collection. Forgot all about that collection because we got a Shadow of the Colossus again on PS4, but Ico, we didn't get that one again, I guess because it's not as memorable. But still never played that game to this day. Don't have no plans on ever caring about it. But after that, so now we get to those 3D monitors I was talking about. Remember when Sony announced, so I believe it was a 24-inch? 24-inch 3D monitor. It came with 3D glasses. And those glasses were special because on this screen, two people could play split screen, but as long as you're wearing the glasses, you each see a whole full screen. How many of you remember that? That shit completely slipped my mind. I did not remember that until they. That's why I wanted to go through all this E3 stuff again. I wanted to bring back these memories, things I felt, games that I was excited for that ended up being shit, games that were shit that ended up being the shit. Like that's what this whole journey that I'm going on right now is about. But so they showed that off, and those are the screens we put on in our PlayStation Lounge, and people were playing Uncharted on it. People were loving it. When fucking store would close, we would have our own tournaments within the between the staff that was all working there. So it was good times, good times. Um, after that, they go over, start showing off the move. Um, excuse me. They showed off Resistance. They showed off 2K, 2K 12, which of course was mad dumb to put on the move. In You didn't want to play NBA 2K with a move controller. It was fucking whack. They even brought Kobe on stage. R.I.P. the legend Kobe. Kobe was there. That was a pleasant surprise to see that again. I was like, oh shit, I forgot. And this was like, this sucked. Kobe showing this game off sucked, and I'm pretty sure anybody that was trying to show the game off probably would have sucked at it too. Again, Kobe was just an extra. Kobe made it entertaining because Kobe was cracking jokes when he was sucking and talk about how this ain't realistic because certain people are hitting shots and shit like that. So like it was a cool little moment, and it was nice to see Kobe just there enjoying a video game. So that's all I got out of that. They showed off Medieval Moves, Desmond's Quest, which of course in 3D. Remember, most of these games are showing off. Everyone in the crowd has 3D glasses, showing off all this stuff. I remember this game too. I never bought it. Well, I didn't have to. I think I got it for free, but never really played it. But played it in our store when we had the setup. And like you had one move control as the shield, one as your sword, and it was a nice little adventure. It wasn't that bad. I would say like after all this, it gets like a solid 7.5 at least from me. Um, then we got a final trailer for this game called Infamous 2. Once again, Insomniac Games, man, one of Sony's big hitters. So remember Infamous 2, guys? That was a great game, wasn't it? Infamous 2 was it was, I'm gonna say beyond its time. It came out like at the perfect time. Now that you look at it, you see so much of Spider-Man and Infamous and a lot of what we saw in this latest Sony Spider-Man game that came out, and some stuff that you were like, they borrowed, kind of took that from Infamous, in some aspects of the game, not knocking anything that Spider-Man did, still a great game. But Infamous 2 was good, great story. Think we even had that damn DLC, but I hope they bring the Infamous games back. Why haven't we got an Infamous remaster yet? I know, don't you guys think we deserve a Infamous, at least Infamous 1, because we all loved Infamous 1. Um, and this I reason it was a final trailer because the game actually released the day after that E3 presentation. The game actually released, and don't you guys miss the days when we used to get big titles like just dropped on us like well, we still get where you go to shadow drops and stuff, or what are now known as shadow. Back then I don't think we called them shadow drops. But then we also got big game titles, big titles coming out the day after they were shown, sometimes or a week later, or even some points consoles even coming out, as I believe happened in 2010. Um, Now we got into a teaser trailer of Starhawk, which is a game I believe I played, but from the makers of Warhawk, which I love the Warhawk multiplayer. That was a good one. But Starhawk, I don't think I spent too much time on. Then we got Sly Cooper, Thieves in Time, which a lot of people in the crowd were excited about. Not me. Never been a huge fan of Sly Cooper. There's something about I don't know that game. I don't know. Maybe it was I don't want to say it's the cell shading of shaded graphics, but I just never could take that game seriously, honestly. Then Dust 514. Who remembers the 128 player multiplayer game that was just shit? It was supposed to like connect with Eve online, had a whole bunch of people playing. I remember dying constantly and just dying constantly. As soon as you came back to life, there's people all over the place. You ran for like 5 minutes until you got to the middle of the board where everyone is or wherever you're trying to capture a point, and boom, dead. And sometimes it took too long to load up. The weapons looked whack. They weren't interesting. It didn't feel good to shoot the guns. That game was shit. Um, excuse me, but glad it's gone. It was whack. Um, let's see. Then we got a trailer for Bioshock 3, which was definitely exciting for everybody. Ken Levine came out and basically apologized to everyone for shitting on the move. Because before that, he did this interview in which he was talking about how God, who the developers of Bioshock again? 2K Games and whoever they are, I forgot. Didn't believe in the move. It's not what they did. They were all about dual shot controls and not moves. And he was true. He was right to think like that because it just didn't work right. But he announced that Bioshock will use move, which of course when it came out, I don't know anyone that actually attempted to play it with the move. I think we tried, but it didn't work. It sucked. Um, then he announced this Bioshock game or tease that an upcoming Bioshock game would be coming to Vita. Never happened, guys. We never got that beautiful game. Uh, um, it was, I believe, in the headlines was something like that. They couldn't come to terms of how the deal was gonna work out or some shit like that. But we never got that Bioshock game on Vita. Would have been great if we did. You know, Saints Row 3 was showing off, one of my least favorites. Well, it wasn't bad, but Saints Row 1 and 2 was like more serious to me. I always tell my buddies, like, I prefer Saints 1 and 2 back when you actually had to, like, be a gang taking over places. They had a story, you had a gang leaders and all that stuff. The original Johnny Gat, not no Johnny Gat goes to hell type bullshit. You know, that it was good times, Saint Row 1 and 2. At least Saint Row 3 did sound like bring Johnny Gat back to life and shit. And I only play these games for Johnny Gat now. And PlayStation announced they will have some exclusive mode for Saints Row 3. Whoop de doo. Star Trek game was announced. I think back then is when one of the movies came out, but this game was shitty. Um, Jack announces that we're gonna get a new SSX game. Um, and yeah, if you guys remember SSX, don't worry. Now that Tony Hawk 1 and 2 is coming out this week, this Friday, bet your ass we're getting SSX before we get Dave Mirra BMX racing, whatever it was, BMX whatever. Um, but yeah, but PlayStation got an exclusive Mount Fuji if you purchase the SSX game on it. They showed Need for Speed The Run, which was shit. We all know that. We went through that phase of a bunch of Need for Speed games being nothing short of shit. And they named that they would get 7 exclusive cars if you bought the game on PlayStation. Who bought it though? And then if you bought Battlefield 3, which was still a great game, great multiplayer. I was on Xbox playing Battlefield 3 though, but if you bought it on PlayStation, you got Battlefield 1943 for free, which was a fun game, man. A lot of people love Battlefield 1943, and it was going to be free with your purchase. Well, then Kaz Hirai comes out in a suit that's way too big for him. This shit is like looks like it could fit 2 people. And I think we're out of the 90s at this point, so the whole big suit thing wasn't really working. But you know, he probably found it last minute. He announces the PlayStation Suite for phones, dead on arrival. Announces the Be Vita Life, hypes it up. Showed off Uncharted Golden Abyss. And I remember, man, and this was a launch game for the Vita. And we were all excited. I think when we all got our Vitas and when I was working for Sony, and yes, I'll bring that up a lot whenever I'm talking about Sony, my time working there. Cause I know you're probably like, oh God, here's another fucking story. But it was the first game that we all wanted to play. We didn't care about playing any multiplayer games. We didn't care about looking at the camera and seeing what shit was around us and invisibles or whatever that shit was called. Uncharted Golden Abyss was the game to have, and that was the system seller, point blank. That's why most people wanted a Vita from day one. Uh, they showed off Ruin for Vita. Um, this was an annoying presentation to that because the announcer that was saying it was like, and then yeah, this is where you go and do this, and like you were just so fucking out of breath. Like you're not even moving around, you're not even playing the game. You're just watching someone play, and you're I don't know if it was his nerves, but this dude was bad at presenting, man, very bad at it. That game also became Warrior's Lair. But and it was actually one of the first games that showed off cloud share. You know, if you were playing on your Vita, you were able to instantly go and save your game and go over to your PS3 and continue your progress from there, and vice versa. And that was that was good. Too bad though, the game never made it onto shelves. You know, another one of those good games that just got canceled midway through development. Then they showed off Mod Nation Racer for the Vita. Not much gameplay, just basically how easy it would be to create a track using the touch screen and all that stuff on the Vita. Then we got Street Fighter versus Tekken trailer, which was exciting to a lot of people. I think yeah, that did make it out later than the console version, but it didn't make it. Probably worth a pretty penny by now because you don't really hear much about it nowadays. Um, and then we got Cole from Infamous was also announced to be in this Street Fighter versus Tekken, and then they gave us a little trailer of how he was gonna play. I just skipped through that. Didn't need to see all that shit because they didn't play the game. Then we got the Vita prices to end the show, in which they told us the failure of the 3G version was gonna be with AT&T. Of course, you had that. I know there was a lot of confusion on launch night about that. If you wanted a 3D version, you had to have an AT&T subscription or service, phone service, and that shit was annoying because when that came out, we had to sign people up for phone plans because we had a whole bunch of these things, and it was so hard to get rid of these because we sold out the Wi-Fi models, which only sold for $50 less, so $249. And those went much quicker than we were able like the day we sold our last 3G model of the Vita, it was a very, very happy day. We never ordered any more of them shits. Didn't want them. I remember it was so bad, other stores volunteered to give us their bundle, their 3G bundles, and we just straight up denied it. It was that bad. But that was the end of the PlayStation show. So let's move on to next, which was Nintendo. So this is the 25th anniversary of Zelda at this point. And so like it starts off with a live orchestra playing a whole bunch of Legend of Zelda music from different generation of games, and then they're showing off all these games on the screen while it's playing. And then Miyamoto comes to stage and he's showing off Skyward Sword and talk about how his arms are so tired for Skyward Sword. And of course, this is known to a lot of people as one of the worst Zelda games ever. If I know a lot of people don't like calling any Zelda game bad, but it was one of the least receptive games, if that's a word. I think so. I think we just didn't receive it as well. It gets sold a lot, but when we talk about our favorite Zelda games, Skyward Sword doesn't really come up, you know. If it does to you, you could always drop a comment on the YouTube video or whatever, you know. But then they also announced Legend of Zelda Four Swords. You guys remember this? That four-player Zelda fucking game? Where you play as the mini little links and shit like that. Nice little dungeon game. And it was okay. It's not too memorable for me, but it was a good game. I remember playing it with friends, but that shit reminded me that it even existed because I forgot that game ever existed. With that, Zelda themed gold remote was announced for the Wii, and that looked beautiful. I don't know why I never bought that remote. It's probably hard to find now, but yeah, that was announced too. Then Mr. Iwata came to stage, RIP, another great that we lost, and he announces several big first-party titles coming to the 3DS. So this show, as Sony focused on the Move and Vita, my Nintendo decided to focus on the 3DS. Cause remember, the 3DS is, I believe, less than a year old still at this point, if not a year old. And it shows off Mario Kart. We see Star Fox. We see Super Mario World. We see Kid Icarus, Luigi's Mansion 2. All these great first-party titles that we enabled to Nintendo. That we were brainwashed from a young age. As long as these titles come out, we must own the console that they will be released to, which would always be a Nintendo console. And they knew, announcing all these games and letting us know it's going to be out this year. Even more 3DS is going to sell. 3DS is one of the best selling consoles ever, the best selling handheld ever, most definitely. Um, then comes Reggie Fils-Aimé, um, and he wants to show us gameplay for each of these games that was just announced to us, which of course they all look good. Everyone's hype over Mario Kart. Everyone wants to see that new Mario. Kid Icarus, sorry, excuse me, it's Kid Icarus. Looks all right, but Kid Icarus is, I don't know how many of you love this guy because Nintendo keeps finding ways to put him in games, and he's a forgettable character. Kid Icarus is shit. He's just as whack to me as Ness is outside of Smash Brothers. I don't know who. Someone might probably be mad that I was saying that these games are shit, but Kid Icarus games and what's the game Ness is in? Whatever they're called, not coming to mind. Those games are crappy. You know, they play good in Smash Brothers, but outside Smash Brothers, I don't like those characters. They're whack. Um, then they show us some more third-party titles for the 3DS, including what I completely forgot, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. Like, Sony couldn't get well, they did get Metal Gear Acid. I love the Acid, so let me not say they couldn't get a Metal Gear game, but they could have ported something like Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2 to the Vita and stuff, and not just the PlayStation, but like redone it in a way, because I know we were able to play our PlayStation 1 games on the Vita, but I don't think the Metal Gear Solid 2 was available on there. But that was great, man, to see Metal Gear going on 3DS. That was great. Like, and the crazy thing about all this third party support that they were getting for the 3DS, what happened is the question you have to ask, because with the Wii U, when came out, where was all this support? What happened from the transition from 3DS to the Wii U, in which they could not get any third party developers other than EA to put stuff on their shit? And even now, because of what happened with EA and them and all the money EA wasted putting games on the Wii U, is why we don't really get EA games on the Switch, if you guys think about it. Because EA probably still doesn't trust Nintendo like that to this day. Hmm. So, after that, we got the announcement of the Wii U. Go behold! It's the first time we're seeing it. We're seeing what the Switch is now, what the Wii U was supposed to be. We're getting that screen in our hand, a huge screen at that. We're getting to see stuff, games connect from the screen on your thing to the TV. You could shoot things to the TV, aim at stuff to your Wii U tablet, all that other bullshit that all amounted to nothing. Our Wii U's were heresy. We wasted our money. I was gonna buy it no matter what. It would look good in concept. We thought we were getting more from it, but no, Wii U was scratched real quick. Um, they didn't even show many third-party games from the get-go, because I was looking to count. Only thing we got was Lego City Heroes, whoop-de-doo, a fucking Lego game that was exclusive to it. We got Tekken, Ninja Gaiden 3, and one other game that wasn't even worthy of me remembering. But after this, there wasn't much left for them to show us of the Wii U other than teasing the first party games, of course, that we knew was gonna come eventually, like the Smash Brothers, the Mario's, all that other shit. Um, then after that, that was the announcement with their partnership with EA. Like I just said, EA was the only one that was really making anything for them, but they had a partnership, and that was basically the end of this show. I don't remember what they might have given away or let people do. I know they said all the games were going to be available on the show floor there too, so people did get to try out the Zelda game and all that other stuff. So good for them. But that was the end of the Nintendo show. So now, last but not least, Microsoft, and I'm not going into like Ubisoft or anything like that. Remember, I'm tell you guys last pod, I'm only doing the big three. So Microsoft was last, and it's gonna be over after this. So let me just take a little gulp of this margarita. All right. So at this point in time, Microsoft still has that deal with Infinity Ward, Activision, whichever one of them, and they're showing off Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. And I don't care what any of you had to say, this was the Xbox 360. The reason they would show off and do that deal with Microsoft is because the Xbox 360 had the better multiplayer. And at that point in time, you can't tell me nothing about your exclusives on the PlayStation or whatever, because at that point in time, when Halo was big and all that shit, everyone wanted to play together. The infrastructure on PlayStation for multiplayer was not as good as it was for Xbox Live. Just a straight up truth. If you tell yourself something different, it's a bold fucking lie, and you're just a Sony pony. All right. And I'm not even gonna say that you're just straight up Nintendo, because I don't think any of you that listen to this are just straight up Nintendo fanboys, because none of you ever come out and defend Nintendo, because we're all conditioned to love Nintendo. But Modern Warfare 3 is shown. They had a little whoopsie at the beginning because the controller disconnected like 2 minutes into the thing. And I know this is the part where the Sony pony says, like, yeah, the batteries probably fell out. But even with batteries, them shits last way longer than the PlayStation control. Um, Next, they showed Tomb Raider, the rebooted Tomb Raider, the first one, and with the newly Lara Croft, her and her upbringing, her up and comings, when they had that little trail where she's trapped, as she's swinging off this branch and lands, and branch goes, a piece of wood or shrapnel goes through her body. You have to pull it out. It was great. I remember us watching this shit. It was great, terrific. We were all excited to see Laura come back. I didn't even remember that this game was so long ago. Like, it came out on 360 and PS3. I couldn't, that blows my mind that the first part of that game is that fucking old, 2011. Excuse me. Well, the game probably released in 2012, but if it did release in 2011, you could correct me on that too. Then they showed off EA Sports. Peter Moore comes to the stage, announces Madden, PGA Golf, and FIFA will work with the Kinect. Now, Nintendo had the 3DS, and Sony had the 3D glasses, and Nintendo had the Wii U, all that shit. But Microsoft was pushing their Kinect hard, man. And this whole show, now that I looked over, watching it again, I was irritated at Microsoft's presentation, because there's a lot of fucking connect, something that you just threw out there at all of us and did not plan to support at all, like the PlayStation Vita, right? So we told those stuff will work with Kinect, and then to like really hype us, they get a gameplay of Mass Effect 3, and them using the Kinect's voice commands to tell Shepard or teammates where to go and what to do. And I remember this guy. I remember I had Kinect, and this, oh my God, this feature, it was a fucking waste of time, waste of money. I don't know who idea it was. I don't know why people thought we were flocked to use the Kinect the way they wanted us to use it because it just wasn't happening. Sorry, Mass Effect was a game meant to be used by controller, not to give no voice commands. We just want to play. Didn't need any gimmicks. Also, Ghost Recon Future Soldier was shown off. Um, that was first time Ghost Recon went into the future. I believe that one had 4-player co-op too. And that was a good. Well, they showed up their Kinect feature for that, which was actually a good one. And that's when they had what do you call it? They had Gunsmith. There we go, Gunsmith. And you could use your arm hand gestures to like take apart your gun, use it to put the guns back together, use your voice to say, hey, this piece is what I want to put here on the gun. Now that was an awesome way to use Kinect. That I liked. I remember that, and I remember using that feature one time when the game came out, but it was still a cool feature. It looked great. um, then we got us Mark Whitten from Xbox Live comes out. It shows off how you can control the Xbox dashboard with your voice and switch between channels and look for stuff to watch and all that stuff. And honestly, this is when I used my Kinect for. I didn't care about anything else. I didn't care about using my Kinect for games or anything like that. I said Kinect, turn off Xbox, Kinect, turn on Xbox, Kinect, go to ESPN, Kinect, go to cable, Kinect, go to Nickelodeon, Kinect, play this game. And that was as far as I went on my Kinect, unless something amazing came out and I felt the need to use my Kinect to play it. I didn't have kids back then, guys. I'm still in like what is it, 2011? So wait, actually, yes, I did have a kid. So man, sorry, but yeah, I did have a kid. Sometimes you forget your past, you know. But yeah, so I think, well, how old was my son at that age? 3 years old. So yeah, so he's 3 years old. But at that point, my kid didn't care about Connect. I started his gaming life with the 3DS, and so yeah, he didn't care about Connect yet. After that, it's announced that YouTube is coming to Xbox. The crowd went crazy for that, man. Can you guys believe the day when YouTube wasn't just a common thing that all consoles had? That when it was announced, it was like momentous to us. We were able to watch some of our favorite videos on our console, and I could tell my console, hey, go to YouTube, Xbox, search for this video. It was great to get YouTube on console. Of course, PlayStation got it later, but not same time as Xbox. Um, then in comes Phil Spencer. Also they announced with that whole YouTube thing, like some UFC bullshit. Who cared? Phil Spencer comes, talks about a lot of blah blah blah, and then Plazinski, Clippy B, comes out, shows off Gears of War, and he decides to do some co-op with Ice-T. Now this is the day and age where they think like you get these big names to come out, it means something to gamers. Rappers playing video games and movie stars playing video games who we know don't really play these games hardcore. If they do, they don't play it legitimately like that off screen. It's not a seller. Who went and bought Gears? One of their friends says, "Oh man, I don't know, man. Convince me to buy Gears." Come on, dude, you're not gonna buy Gears. Motherfucking Ice T was playing that shit. Oh my god, Ice T, he played Gears. Oh my god, I think I might buy this fucking game. No, that's not how the world works. God, yes, we live now in a world where people love to ass kiss celebrities. Yes, we live in that world now, but back then it wasn't that. Well, there was still ass kissing, but gamers didn't give a fuck about famous people playing video games on stage. We care about Keanu Reeves being in a video game. We like famous people in video games, but them playing a video game on stage, that ain't fucking convincing me to fucking buy a game, especially if they sucked at it, like but even though they sucked at it, we still bought it, but we didn't buy it because Ice-T was playing. So I fast forwarded through all of that because didn't care to watch Ice-T play any video games. Um, Next, they showed off Rise for the Kinect, which was canceled for Kinect and came back out to us on Xbox One as Rise, Son of Rome, I believe, or was it Shadow of Rome, something like that. Shadow of Rome, Son of Rome, and which of course it got like a bunch of sixes and things like that. But I love that game as a launch game for Xbox One. It showed off the graphics. It was much better than having to swing my arms in front of a fucking camera. Rather use a game. And now that I've seen that, it makes sense why the game was on rails a lot. Like I don't think a lot of us realized that at the time we were playing. A lot of the complaints was that a lot of this game is on rails. You go, you fight this person, a cutscene happens, and you move on. You move a few steps, you fight, cutscenes, you move on. But if you guys think about it now, the game was on rails because it was supposed to be a Kinect game, and there was no way that we were going to be moving free form on the Kinect. One thing I didn't realize when that game came out, I did not remember that Rise was once shown for the Kinect. So I relearned something when I was watching this video, and it was great to know. Because now I have a newer, greater appreciation for what Rise was from what it wasn't, I guess I should say. And then after that, gosh, on 360 was the first time we got a Halo remastered. Halo 1 Anniversary Collection came out, or Anniversary Edition, and where they remastered Halo 1, gave it online multiplayer for the. I remember how hyped we were for this. Me and my cousin, like, we're gonna play Blood Gulch and all this fucking stuff, rockets on from our Halo 1 days on the original Xbox, and we're gonna be able to play online. This was a great time. It was fun. I remember those days. I don't know why they just didn't end the show right there. But after they showed off Forza Motorsport 4, which is crazy. Like, we were up to 4 in 2011. Damn. And what are we up to now? We're at 7, I believe, and probably going to get 8 by next year. Well, but that looked good as ever. It looked like it was a fucking Xbox One game, of course, because it's Forza. Um, then we got Fable the Journey for Kinect. Now, because of all the things, ways Fable disappointed me after a while, and Peter Molyneux couldn't keep his promises, I wasn't going to waste no money on a Fable game on Kinect and think it was going to do good. But lo and behold, this game actually came out, and I thought it was whack. So I said, let me go and Google the scores for this game. This shit was actually getting 7.5s and 8s. So it wasn't that bad of a game, I guess, you know. Maybe one day we'll get to replay it. Maybe it'll re-release in some other shape or form. But for now, yeah, I guess it was a good game. But back then, I thought it was going to be shitty as fuck. And then they go full-blown Kinect. And here we go with the corniness, yo. They showed off Kinect Disneyland Adventures. Where they have these two kids playing, and you know the whole, and they're playing this Peter Pan game and flying, and they're flying, and then one little kid's like, "Oh my God, I missed a star. Don't worry, we'll get it the next time." Oh goodness! And then at the end, they land on Captain Hook's boat, and they both look at each other, and the thing ends with them saying, "Captain Hook." End of trailer. Well, not end of game presentation. Like, what the fuck, man? Oh God, oh man, I love hating on when they did these little live presentations with people and their fake excitement, and they're faking as if they didn't practice this game like 300 times before they came out on stage. Then we got that shitty ass Connect Star Wars game, but you barely touched anybody but your lightsaber. The shit was whack. On rails game, man. I didn't even want to finish watching all that shit. Then Tim Schafer comes out and he announces I forgot he even did this fucking Sesame Street game for the Kinect. And they have another set of kids, well, a grown man and a kid playing in this Once Upon a Monster, it's called, where you play as Cookie Monster and he's doing something. And of course, within the game, you run into other Sesame Street characters, which doesn't amount to shit as far as I know, because it's not like I played it. You know? Then they announced this Kinect fun labs, where this thing where you could go and take pictures of yourself on the Kinect. Then you could pause the screen and you could draw around yourself. Like they were trying to go. I guess this whole presentation at the end was about trying to get that young audience that Nintendo had, or they was trying to grab them from what they were trying to gather some of those people that fell in love with the Wii. And Xbox wasn't a little child system. Yes, little childs would go online and tell us how they fucked our moms so good while playing Halo. But Xbox was not a children's console. It was for the big man. 360 was for us hardcore gamers to me who just wanted to play games online, play some Halo Gears, and whoop some ass online. Wasn't for kids. To Connect, it was a fad for a little while. Didn't really catch on with the kids like that. Um, so after that, yeah, Once Upon a Monster comes, shows off, blah blah blah. Then they do the fun labs, blah blah blah, bunch of picture bullshit. Then they show Connect Sports Season 2, which wasn't as good as their first season, even though they had better games like basketball and football, but didn't connect to connect to the kids the way that Season 1 did when the Connect first came out. And then they showed off, hey, the only game you could really play where you're connected. Tell people, hey, I got Dance Central or Dance Central 2 want to play the Connect, because if you came to anybody else and asked if they want to play Connect in any other game, it wasn't happening. No, not since the Connect Adventures. Those were the only two games, Dance Central and Connect Adventures, if I'm saying that game right. So that was the end of the shitty ass Connect presentation. Thank God. I'm hoping when we get to 2012, Connect is dead already, because I don't want to watch any more Connect presentations, and I don't remember if it died in 2012, but I'm hoping when I get to that Connect is dead. So the end show is coming to an end. I thought they were gonna end it with that Connect bullshit. Thank God they didn't. And it came with announcement of here's the beginning of our new trilogy, and we get our first trailer to Halo 4. And yeah, nice little trailer. Katana waking up Chief as she always has to do. Some shit's exploding around him and he has to escape as usual. And it starts with him outside the ship and everything's blowing up around him. And boom, Halo 4 sign. Crowd goes wild. We're getting more Halo and it's a new trilogy. Well, since Halo 4, we've gotten Halo 5 Guardians, and we're not getting a Halo 6, but we're getting Halo Infinite, which I guess they said we could consider Halo 6, but also consider it a continuation of the franchise. I guess this is supposed to be our game that's supposed to continue the story for years to come instead of them just releasing another game before the end of the cycle. Hey, hopefully it'll just be a bunch of updates. That'll be great for us because we've been crying for games to just give us updates instead of making us spend a whole nother 60 or maybe even $70. But hey, with Xbox Game Pass, you don't gotta worry about that. Shout out. So that was the end of today's show right there. Ended on a good note with Halo. They should have just yeah, the Connect stuff should have been left in the beginning. They should have went strong with the Halo 1 anniversary, the Gears, and the Halo 4 announcement at the end, but they didn't do that. They should have. Um, but between the three of these, once again, I'll have to give it up to Sony coming in first place in 2011, and then Nintendo, and then Microsoft, because they just showed too much of something I would hope they did believe in, but just didn't fulfill things. Even fucking Sony, they pissed me off with the move, but because of the amount of games they had to show off and not a bunch of kiddie stuff, for they knew their audience, I should say. Microsoft was just trying to gain another audience. But yeah, so Microsoft was in third, Nintendo second, played Sony first this year. Other than that, guys, like and subscribe if you guys like what you heard. Look forward for more. Of course, you can get alerts if you want while after watching this video or any future videos that we put out on the gamer stuff. Stay tuned this Monday. Gamer Rich Podcast goes live on YouTube, 8:30 every Thursday. I'm gonna do my best to start streaming stuff. Look out for my new beer show. If you want, there's gonna be a link to our link tree in the what you call the shit in the damn description below, and you guys can find everything Gamerish from these shirts that we got. You know, Gamerish shirt, Gamerish hats. We got all that. Follow us on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook. Join the Gamerish Network Facebook page. We're looking for a bunch more people to join. Like or share the page with your friends. We would love to have a huge community and a huge following. You know. So, guys, until next time. Enjoy your drinks. Enjoy your games. Don't got no games to put in the fucking air. But peace out. Thanks for listening.